Alright, welcome to the, hello, today we're going to be working on a Honda VFR 1200. We're going to be removing the front wheel. First we're going to take a 10 millimeter socket and we're going to loosen the 10 millimeter pinch bolts that are on the bottom of the floor. Next we're going to move up to a 14 millimeter and we're going to remove the bolts that hold the caliper on.
You riding alone? Yep. Yeah, that's how I travel too. Yeah. The only other person, well, I'll travel with my wife on the back. We're going to New York State a couple weeks for a little trip. The only other guy I travel with is my wife.
This bike belongs to Steve. He's a buddy of mine from Toronto, Canada, and a member of the VFR discussion group.
But the people that do have a bike, either on Harleys or they never ride them.
So we're just going to wiggle the caliper a little bit to get the brake pads loose, and then we're going to set the caliper off to the side. I've already loosened the 22 millimeter axle bolt, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that out at this time. Now on the other side, I'm going to loosen up the 10 millimeter pinch bolts.
I'm pissed that my garage is this small. Yeah. So you would want to see mine. My last garage was 6 cars. Oh, yeah.
And again, we're going to use a 14 millimeter to break loose those caliper bolts.
She has an obsession with toys, so.
I do?
Yeah, you. The arcade games are all you.
Oh.
Yeah, notice how many Miss Pac-Mans are just sitting here. Yeah. And there's another one on the trailer next to the house. There's another one in the arcade room. They even work?
One in arcade room does.
I think that one does. That one's a dedicated Miss Pac-Man. This one, I still have to set up the controls. It's a 48 in 1. So it has like all the classic games on it. But I haven't wired the joystick on it yet. I have a Galaga in the house that has 48 games in 1. Man, there's a freaking ounce of weight on this tire. There's an ounce right there. I'm sorry, there's 2 ounces right there. This tire should have taken about a quarter ounce. Well, the guy that did it, he's a pro.
So again, I just wiggle the caliper a little bit, and it separates the brake pads and allows the caliper to slide off the rotor and slide back on a lot easier. Next, I take a 16 millimeter socket and tap the axle out of the bike. And that's pretty much how to remove the wheel. Now we're going to reinstall the wheel. So the wheel seals were pretty clean on this bike, even though he did a fairly long trip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wheel spacers and I'm going to clean them off with a paper towel, and I'm going to put a light coat of marine grease. And what the marine grease will do is it'll keep the water out of the seals, and it'll help lube the seals while the wheel goes around that spacer. It just helps prolong the life of the seals and the bearings, because once the water gets past that seal, then your bearings are exposed to water, and you know what bearings and water do together. And then it's always a great idea to clean off the axle and put a light coat of grease all up and down the axle. It just makes it easier to remove the axle later on. And if you're not doing it, it makes it easier for the next guy to remove the axle. So it's pretty easy to get the axle back in. Just line it up and tap it through. Then you can let your bike down and then go ahead and tighten up all the bolts, put your calipers back on. By the way, I simply used a floor jack with the center stand on the VFR. I used a floor jack in a small block and put the block on the oil plug and just jacked it up a little bit until the back tire touched the ground. There's really no weight on the floor jack. You're just relieving the weight that might be on the front wheel. Most of the weight is on the center stand.
She wouldn't sit that long, would she? Well, she would. If she, if we were retired, like I don't think she'd want to spend a weekend down here and back and burn up a week of vacation. I was thinking of flying her down to like Asheville or something, but I think I'll do it. I've offered to take her to bike week, and she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to ride her own bike down. Daytona? Yeah. What is that from here? Back roads, it's about 10, 11 hours. Yeah. It's not bad. Oh, easily. Yeah. Still. There's good back roads from here to Daytona, though. What's that? There's good back roads from here to Daytona. Yeah. Till you get to Florida, then it's interstate. Interstates are no fun.
So are you off on vacation?
I just left my job 3 weeks ago, so I'm in between jobs. So I'm just cruising.
Enjoying life. Good.
What do you do? I'm a lawyer. The company I work for, they shut down their corporate office in Toronto and moved to Houston. So I wasn't having any of that. Houston's pretty hot. Yeah. That's crazy hot here. It's hot here, but it's not too humid. At least not right now.
It's not bad. It's
Then we're going to spin in the 22mm axle bolt and we're going to snug it down. And once we have the axle bolt snug down, Then we're going to go ahead and tighten up the pinch bolts on the left side of the motorcycle.
When I visited Houston, 8:30 in the morning, it's hot and so humid.
Phoenix is just as bad.
Yeah. I haven't been there.
What does your wife do?
She works for Microsoft in advertising.
Neat. Cool.
So once those left side pinch bolts are tightened down, we can put the final tightness on the axle bolt, and then we'll tighten down the right side pinch bolts. Always a good idea to double check your work, make sure everything's tightened down. And then finally, most important, always pump the brake lever. Most important, pump the brake lever.